So as you stand in the space underneath what was once the Great Manor House, the three spirits have more or less invited you towards the altar. And as soon as one of you had touched the glowing book, the surge of energy about you swept throughout the room. And for a moment, you could see nothing except that bright light. A few moments later, you managed to blink your eyes enough to regain vision, and you see yourself sitting across the table in the tavern from three relative strangers. It takes a moment as you look around the table to realize that the gentleman wearing the leather leather smithy apron has the same mustache and eyes as Azteki. The slender fellow in the green tunic with the bow across his back seems to have the same shift to his seat that you've become to notice as Frederick. Dagon still looks remarkably like Dagon in just about every way. And the woman, after a few moments you take in, if you were to maybe just stretch the ears out and add a little more to the eyebrows and maybe repaint her bluish, that would be Nebula. I'm sorry, Samara. And after a few seconds, you begin to realize that you are not yourselves, yet you are. What's everyone doing in this moment?
I want to see how tall I am.
You quickly arise from the bench and realize that this is what it looks like to look down on a human-sized table.
This is amazing.
You've been recast as a slightly below average height human.
I'm gonna look around and just be like, "Whoa, you guys seeing this? Hey, let me feel you. Let me feel that mustache. I'll poke it, make sure it's real."
I was gonna ask the same thing. Is anybody else seeing this? Is it just me?
Frederick's beard is very closely trimmed now. It doesn't have that massive dwarven feel to it, but it definitely, you can start to see a lot of the similarities. And the tavern is, as you discuss this, and are you seeing this? You can hear similar conversations in the sense of, but not the words are the same, but the intention is clearly different. A few tables over from you, people are starting to become more and more riled up in their conversations about the things they are seeing in the community and the need to take some action.
What kind of things are they talking about specifically?
One of the men at the table slams his fist down, says, "We just have to feed the families. We know who is responsible. The rumors aren't rumors. I say we take it straight to the manor now."
So I'm thinking we're in a flashback or a vision of the past. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh no, the holodeck safeties are off again.
Another man reaches over to his friend. There's no way he could be responsible for this. It's impossible that any dark magic could have brought this upon us. It has to be something grander than that. And the third speaks up. "No, it can't be. You know it's true that what goes on beneath that house. He brought this upon us, and he needs to solve it. We can't go another season like this."
Do these voices of these people sound anything like the spirits that we were talking to?
Not offhand, no. I would also hazard that it would be very difficult to match any voice of the spirits given their lack of embodiment. But there's nothing like in particular in like the slang or any particular twang or accent that sticks out. It's like, oh, that's unique. But I like what you're thinking. They continue to have more and more, becoming more and more animated. And you can see that around, it's not just the table next to you at the tavern, it's the tavern. There are probably 30 people in here at the moment. And the conversation is identical at every location, at the bar, at the tables, near the door. And it's the same. Do we confront him or do we not? Is he responsible? Or is this just a twist of fate that has befallen you?
Okay. Are we able to talk to the people and the tables around us, or are we just seeing what's happening? Like,
do you try to talk to somebody? I guess that's the question I would ask.
I was going to try to, but I wanted to try to talk to one of the townspeople and ask them, who are they talking with? Like, what is the problem that's going on, and who are they referring to?
He turns to you kind of with surprise. Well, we're talking about the Lord Warden. It's his dark magic that brought the night upon the town. He did something in that house, and he needs to reverse it. And you should know this. How much business have you had?
I must have forgotten.
You've forgotten that no one can afford to have anything mended at your shop?
Oh.
I mean, without crops, how do we raise food? Without food, how do we raise money? Without money, how do we pay you?
I have no idea what shop I even own. I'm assuming that I am one of the townspeople in the vision, but I don't know who.
Sounds like a blacksmith, maybe.
I thought I was a blacksmith.
Oh, you're the blacksmith.
Yeah.
And he kind of like looks at you. Well, clearly you've had a few too many.
I guess so. I must have.
Which we should be careful of. Even the vineyards are struggling through this. And someone else speaks up. Exactly. If we don't take this to him now and make him reverse it, we won't survive another season. We still have time. The snows are gone. The frost is gone. It is time to plant. We need this dealt with. And one of the townspeople near the door actually takes up a pitchfork and raises it up and then slams it down on the ground, on the floor a few times. Goes, damn straight. I say we march on the manor now. We make him deal with this.
Have you tried asking him first?
He looks at you straight. What's there to ask? Everyone knows the dark magics that he's practiced.
It sounds like you just said they were rumors. And just saying that these rumors aren't rumors doesn't make the rumors not rumors.
It's common knowledge. And what else could it be? Isn't it the Lord Warden's job to keep us safe? Isn't that the role of the nobility?
You got me there.
Yeah. And a few other like you know it's like that for a moment everyone kind of like did a cheer around that. And then you hear, I say we burn the manor and destroy the dark evil in it.
How do we know that burning down the manor would stop this evil if he really is the cause of it?
Well, it's better
he's the only one that can stop it.
Then we make him stop it, and if he can't, then we burn it down. Yeah! And then you actually can see people are starting to make torches near the fire in the tavern.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour myself a drink while everybody's, rabble rousing.
Sidle up to the
You
bar.
know, wine makes really good accelerate for those torches. Go ahead and douse all those torches in wine.
Wink, wink.
Hey now.
Well, that's a mistake anybody could have made in the heat of the moment. They, however, don't.
I tried.
Although there is one older gentleman at the bar who's drinking out of a flask. Well, to be honest, this would be a pretty good accelerant, but there ain't no way you guys are touching it.
Hey, does he look familiar? Because he sounds familiar.
No. But, yeah, and welcome aboard, by the way, Gadget. Go, Gadget, reroll. We'll see how badly you guys need those tonight. The crowd is definitely whipped up into something, and people are starting to filter out into the street, and you can hear banging on doors up and down the street as people are being like roused out. When you look out the windows of the tavern, you are met with that same darkness that you had when you first arrived, where you can't tell, is it day or is it night? Is it morning? Literally the time of day is indiscernible from the skies. What are you doing as the people start to gather and start their march?
Something's telling me that we're about to see what shook this place up and went wrong.
Yeah, I was just about to just follow the crowd and see what's gonna go down.
Oh,
I would like to advise those around me to have patience. We're not a bloodthirsty mob. We're looking for answers. We're looking to protect our families. We're not just striking out because we don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I'll grab a torch and I'll be like, yeah, what he said.
Yes, peaceful resolution. Yes.
By the way, Azteki, would you do me a huge favor and throw some dice for a persuasion check?
Yeah.
Okay, you got a 7. That is not going to change a lot, but it was a good effort. For the most part, they ignore you. I mean, you get a little bit of positive reaction as they kind of, if you're like, yeah, he's not wrong. We aren't. Shut up. Okay. But it was a good try.
Well, you had me, Azteki.
Yeah, we always got your back, buddy.
The crowd.
I was moved.
The crowd moves out of town and up the same road you took when you went to the Dark Ritual site earlier today, I suppose. It's very, the same pathway. And as you march, you notice there is a particular raven on one of the branches in the forest watching as the mob passes.
Oh no, guys, it's that raven. It's that bad omen that we should turn around and not do this. God's gonna be mad at you.
I thought it was a good one. I thought it was a good one.
Shh.
When you reach the manor house, you can see that the mob has been forced to a stop as a line of about a half a dozen guards are attempting to hold a line with spear and shield against them. For the most part, they're not like full on phalanx or anything because they've spread out to act as peacekeepers, and they're using their spears more like a fence line than anything else. And people are pushing up against it and shouting and demanding that the Lord Warden appear, demanding that the house be burned, demanding that the skies be opened demanding food. I would love to know what you all are up to.
I don't want to be up in there pushing against these guards for reasons that don't really make a lot of sense to me.
Anyone else making any inquiries or efforts?
Does anybody seem to be in charge of the mob?
There's a handful of rabble-rousers towards the front that seem to be the most worked up, but it seems more of a very loose, like there isn't a clear person issuing orders. I mean, if you move towards the front, you probably could speak to both the most agitated and the guard at the same time, if that was your intention.
We want to muscle up front.
Let's muscle them up front.
I think that's the move.
I'll take the lead with my my bouncing and just kind of make a path. Just move
Yeah, I
people
feel
out
like
of
a
the way.
mountain of a man as well. I'm going to help him. Just try to I get out of my way.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, Dagon's worked his way through mobs before. This isn't that difficult, except everyone's actually sober in this one. And mostly sober. Slightly sober. Yeah, they're not, but that's not the point. You get up towards the front of the line, and there's again the shouting of we demand to see him, and you will not get past us. This is not how we're going to resolve this. We're not going to let you cross this line like this. You need to return to your homes. He will send a representative down. We can talk this out.
We choose this paladin Azteki as our representative to go talk it out.
There's a moment where both the guard and two of the men in the mob both stop and look. The smith.
Yes, he can hammer out our steel. He can hammer out their differences.
There is a moment where they consider this. Well, can he hammer the skies open so our crops will grow?
Isn't that what he has to discuss with the Lord of the Manor?
Okay, let's see a persuasion check. Let's see how you're feeling about that.
Pretty okay.
Wow. Yeah, that 21 is a pretty okay result. Okay. The rabble guys kind of, take a step back. If the smith can talk as well as he can hammer out a horseshoe, fine. He can have his chance. But if we don't see the sun within an hour, we burn this place. And the guard looks very concerned at the prospect of trying to hold back most of town. But he does actually beckon you to follow him. He takes a step back and the other guards kind of move in a little bit to maintain the line. And so that was a very smooth comment, Hunter. We appreciate that. I don't know what to tell you.
I hope it at least buys you an hour.
He takes you to the side door of the manor, and he calls out to the other servants as to where the Lord Warden is, and they say he's below. And the guard gets very concerned. You better come with me. This is serious. And he takes you through these massive ornate wood doors and straight down in a short hallway and then straight down a flight of stairs. And these stairs are very familiar. and it opens up into a hallway that you have been in before. Multiple suits of polished armor line the walls, representing generations of warrior leaders. At the end of the hallway is a portrait of a man in a white robe working some sort of holy magic. And on the hallways off to the sides, you can see servants coming and going, trying to keep the house up, and they look clearly agitated. And he leads you down past the painting, around to the one side, and into a small underground auditorium. The benches are polished and well maintained. At the far end, you recognize the iconery of holy light, as well as a raven descending in the light. Tell you what, that's what you recognize offhand. I can tell you more, but I'm going to want somebody to make a religion check to know anything else.
Who might that be?
I guess that should be me, huh?
Oh, anybody can roll it. It's based off intelligence. So it's also entirely possible that Samara would be up on this as well. It just in her studies.
Okay. I could do it. I mean, I could give it a try.
Hey, RJ and
Anything
Science,
else work?
welcome aboard. Good
There we
to
go.
have you guys hanging out tonight. As we shuffle for our dice finally. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Oh, it's like
There it
okay to go.
goes. That was a lot of shuffling for an 11. That will at least remind you that that there's nothing here that you recognize from your studies as necromantic or particularly evil as such. So far, it looks pretty. It sounds weird to say. It's mundane religion,
Okay.
if that makes sense. As you take in the space, you can see a man in a noble's housecoat and knee breeches, nice shoes. His hair is perfectly maintained, and he's standing at the altar with his back to you. The guard speaks up. My Lord Warden, these people represent the town. They've come to discuss the plague of the night upon us. And the Lord Warden says nothing at first. Does anyone want to add to the introduction?
There's a large mob outside talking about burning your house down, and we'd really like to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, we come looking for answers on what's happening to the town and what are you doing to help.
When you say that, his shoulders slump forward towards the altar as you can see another moment of fatigue strike him. And his voice is tired when he speaks. I have done nothing. I did not bring this upon us, and I can do nothing to prevent it. They deserve a leader who might help them, and that cannot be me or my family.
So we're gonna walk outside. We're gonna tell him you're stepping down, and we're gonna elect a leader. What are we doing here?
The guard kind of glances at you. I think he's about to do something. He sent his wife and daughter away yesterday. He had heard rumors that they were riled and they were preparing to come. And thank you for the bits, by the way, guys. He's clearly, this is bad, and they don't know what else to do. They don't know how to manage this darkness upon us. He doesn't know. He hasn't slept in a week. And at that, the Lord Warden turns towards your party and you can see in his hand he holds a very long, ornate dagger. There is no way this town will be free of the tyranny of leadership that has failed it. Maybe in my death, they will find a way to come together and survive this vile darkness.
We kind of came here to prevent you from dying and your house from being burned down.
Then perhaps in my death, the manor will survive. And in that moment, he puts the blade to his throat and slices.
Oh my goodness.
Anybody know first aid? Anybody
The guard is as in shock as you. Are you making any particular reaction as the warden slumps back onto the altar?
I'll rush towards him.
Yeah,
and,
let's
and try to grab him.
make him
Just be
comfortable.
Okay. You run forward, and it's not hard to catch. I mean, to prop him up a bit, there's basically an altar there you could set him on to steady himself. But he's going fast. And you also notice he is not well nourished. He looks frail. And you start to kind of note that everyone looked a little worse for the wear. The blood begins to pool across the altar itself and take on a shine to it. Instead of being the usual deep red that you've seen multiple times in battle, it begins to glow with a light blue tone. And runes that you had not seen around the altar begin to glow. I would love if our most learned of people will now make a second religion check. And while they're doing that, I will again welcome the Raiders. Thank you, Obakan, for bringing everybody over to hang out with us as my players look for their
You're the
dice.
most learned person, right? With the second religion check.
You can do it.
I was expecting both of you guys to make those rolls, actually.
Oh, okay.
And we have some re-rolls and add to rolls in the bank now that have come in from various people watching. So thank you for adding those. Quick catch up. The party's trying to figure out why this town has been unable to see anything but nighttime, both day and night, for a while now. Okay, those are both... Okay, so Azteki is definitely more brawn than brains. But Tamara is able to look at that, and you notice in the runes as they form, you start to see symbols that you do recognize from the necromantic school of magic, things that reference the necromantic gods. And in a moment, it almost seems as though the raven iconery begins to darken behind the altar, as though its own, somehow like the gold filigree just no longer captures the light of the torches as it should. A few moments pass and he is gone before much could be done. And that's when you hear the cheers. It's not hard to mistake a mob of several hundred people crying out in joy.
Oh, how did they know? I mean, how did they know he was dead?
The guard looks at you. I don't know. Is that... And he turns and he starts to leave the chamber quickly.
Yeah, we should go figure out what they're cheering about. I mean, we could assume it's this. They can't have seen this.
Right, that's what I was thinking. I was like, if they're cheering, how do they know for this? How do they know? But if it's something else, then yeah, we should probably find out what that is.
You follow the guard out.
Take that
Go
dagger.
ahead. Take the dagger. All right. Boom. That's easy to grab. Last one out is Dagon, slipping the dagger into his belt. Keep it handy. As you come up the stairs, you are immediately taken by the stained glass windows that surround this half of the house. You didn't notice them on the way in because there was no light catching them. And now they are awash with colors and designs. And you can actually see like dust hanging in the air as the light streams into the house. When you go through the side door out into the yard, you look up and there's blue sky as far as you can see. Barely a cloud. And you take a notice, this is the first time you've seen the sky for yourselves in several days.
Well, that all worked out. I guess our job's done here.
I mean, I don't know. It could be all. I mean,
It could be just temporary. We don't know what's going on here.
The guard is actually weeping when you come up.
How long has it been since we've seen the sun?
It's been a full year. Nothing grew last year. Not a thing. We survived on what we could scavenge, but nothing. We can't live like that. How did this happen?
It was the sacrifice. That was the first sacrifice.
In that moment, the sun begins to glow brighter and brighter as though it is emitting an orb of white light onto its own that kind of washes down from the sky and sweeps across the ground. And again, you find yourselves blinking, unable to see anything but the white light. You blink a few more times and find yourself walking, when you finally are able to push back and see through the bright light again, you find yourself back on the road that connects town to the manor. You are, as you remember yourselves, for the most part. Samara's hair is cut very short now and is all white. There is a great deal of gray in the beard of the human that you have identified as Frederick the Dwarf. Azteki no longer walks easily, but has a cane. And Dagon has picked up a few scars. And you are in a small group that is processing along the road together.
Which direction are we heading?
Out towards the manor.
Okay.
Is it light outside?
It is still, yes. There's still, the sky is not as blue, but it is a natural shade. There are, spots in the clouds where you can see, some blue here and there, gray, but it's not a blindingly perfect day, but it's also not that weird non-stop nighttime that you had left before. As you take in the group that you're walking with, there is a young man in the group, probably late 20s, who's wearing a bright blue robe that definitely makes him stick out from the rest of the group. And they are showing him a great deal of deference as he sort of leads your procession back towards the manor house. Give me a quick perception check. Dagon, please. So Adam. While he's rolling that, you notice another group up the road has moved out from the tree line and has now formed a small wall across it of people standing. In the middle of the group is a man dressed in the black robes of the church. He has the white stall, and you can see woven into it the gold symbols of the light. You can also make out some parts where it's faded, but was once a bright raven symbol. showing it descending again in the lights. Dagon, you notice that the dagger you had taken from the noble is not on your belt, but as you recognize the hilt and the ornate gold and gemstones on it is in the belt of the man leading your group in the blue robes.
I will point it out to the rest of the party. I'll be like, hey guys.
The priest puts his hand up to block the road. You don't need to do this, son. We will find other ways. The cycle should end. And he speaks back. This is our tradition. This is how we have survived the last 30 years. One must volunteer. I consider it an honor.
Oh, so so he's the nice sacrifice. Yeah.
The priest looks at the group as, surely you can't all be here to support him. None of you will speak for him. His life not worth this.
I'll look at the priest and say, hey, you got any other ideas?
We can find other ways to survive. We don't need to do this. This is a dark magic that we bring upon ourselves annually, and the cycle must be ended. We have a generation that knows nothing but this, a generation that should be spared. And he points at Samara. Sarah, you surely don't support this. A woman of your age and wisdom. You remember the time before. We can return to that and survive.
It was so long ago, it's hard to remember those times. This is the only thing that has worked at this past generation. I don't know what else to do. I mean, we could try other ways, but it just seems like it's hopeless.
And you all are in agreement that we shall not try, we shall not quest, we shall not investigate further. We will embrace the hopelessness.
Well, I, in my old bones now, complain about my back and look at the young boy and say, I think it's time. It has been enough of this. We should find another way.
He's right. We were there the first time, and it wasn't the right way then.
And the man looks at you and says, is it not my choice?
It is your choice, and we will support you whatever you choose.
And in that moment, you can see the light from his dagger begin to glow and again sweep outward in that ball of energy that eventually overtakes you and leaves you blinking to see again. This time, when you come through, you are seated at a chair at the long table. It takes another round as you start to take in who you are now, because you don't recognize your own group. It takes a bit, and you start to pick out. Samara is one of the people who is seated. Standing behind her is Dagon with his hand on her shoulder. Azteki and Frederick are standing to their sides up against the walls in what is the Elderman's chamber that you remember where you met with the town elders when they were discussing what to do after you recovered the smithy. Samara has found herself in the role of one of the aldermen.
Oh my.
I'm gonna pat her on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, you're the lucky one."
As you put your hand down, notice the large gold band.
Geez, maybe I'm the lucky one.
Absolutely, one of the other aldermen says, we still have to deal with this. The thaw has been 3 weeks now. There is no frost. It is time to plant, and we have no volunteer. One of the other aldermen speaks up and breaks the silence. This is what we have done for 150 years. We cannot stop now. This is how we survive. We've had bad harvests despite this. We've had years of bountiful harvests despite this. We do not have the option to not send someone to the manor. People will starve. People will die. We need that volunteer.
But what can we do if no one wants to volunteer? We can't force them. It has to be voluntary.
Someone else speaks up. Well, how do we know it can't be forced? How do we know it has to be willing? Perhaps there are those in our community who are not kind, who do not obey the laws. We always have someone in the jail.
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, will we just start murdering people now? I mean, that's what we've become.
Seems completely reasonable to me. 2 birds, 1 stone. You get rid of a bad dude and save the town.
Yeah, but are the crimes of these individuals, so bad that death is a sufficient or a punishment that is worth bestowing upon them just because they've done something wrong in their past?
It's not a punishment. It's an honor we are bestowing upon these hoodniks.
It's a good thing you're not the alderman, buddy.
Oh, goodness.
Definitely elbowing them in the ribs. Like, come on, man. Shut up.
What? I'm just a dude playing another dude. Disguised as a dude.
Oh my goodness.
The one who proposes, we could find popular support for this. I'm certain there has to be someone in the community who is vile enough that the people would even go so far as to vote. Were we mad enough to have them cast ballots, they would vote to sacrifice, to allow them to volunteer.
Well, we could try a vote, or would it be terrible to have everybody in the community put forth like a sort of drawing of the straws, put forth their name, and
Lottery.
somebody gets chosen a lottery. Yes, thank you.
I hate it.
A woman at the far end of the table who is sitting by herself. She looks maybe 19, but has a seat at the alderman table. Smiles slightly. I know I am only here because both my mother and father passed. But I think the lottery has merit. And she has a crooked grin that you think you might recognize.
It's the wino.
I think we should see if we are indeed unanimous. A lottery of all of the town. One name is drawn, and they are given the honor of volunteering. It is fair and is free of corruption. I vote this is our path forward. And the man next to her puts his hand up. I agree. We are 2 of 5 to consensus. And the next vote. I agree. We are 3 of 5 to consensus. And the man sitting next to Samara. I concur. We are 4 of 5 to consensus. And they all turn.
Looking at me.
We know what this has gotten them. If we could stop it, we have to stop it.
Hey, as your newfound husband, I support you in any endeavor you take.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's so tough because this is not a decision, that's easy to make. When dealing with somebody's life, whether it's voluntary or not.
Well, you did propose it. Are you rescinding your proposal?
I did propose it, but just only because I think it is the better of the options, but it still doesn't quite sit right with me, but I don't see another way at the moment other than this. Unless somebody else has any other ideas.
Ah. And the man next to you kind of slumps. I declare we are not in consensus. This motion has failed. Perhaps we should take a recess. And the young woman at the end of the table nods. I agree to a recess. 1 of 5, and there's very little formality as it passes around the table. 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, and they glance at you.
I concur. Recess, I think, would be a good idea.
And there's a long pause as all 4 of them look at you.
I think you have to say 5 of 5.
Oh, 5 of 5?
Very well. We are in recess. And
Are there
they
any hammers close by that I can hammer on the table real quick when they say that?
you can bang your fist on it easily.
I do that.
The man who is seated next to you goes off and talks to the young woman first. The other 2 eldermen make their way out of the chamber into the rest of the city hall, as it were. What are you all doing during this period?
We know what happened last time. Well, we assume we know what happened last time. She told us there was a lottery. They told us they were choosing. What if we could make a different choice now? What if we could choose something else?
But what should we suggest? Like, we don't even know what we suggest or propose would work.
We don't even know if we propose something, if it would make a difference. Right? So we might as well try something.
Well, what happens if no sacrifice is made? I mean, does it immediately go back? What if nothing happens?
What if it was a one-time thing? I mean, they don't know. They've been doing it for 150 years. There's nobody alive that was there the first time. I mean, I guess other than us, but we're not even those people.
Right. Was there something different about that one time that what was the reason why it worked? Like, and how do we even know what it was?
I mean, the priest whenever that was, had a good point. We haven't tried anything else yet. We should just something else, anything else. Can't stop questing and those things he said.
Well, we could just not sacrifice someone, and then like when the sky turns dark, we say, "Oh, my bad, we're a little late," and then we sacrifice someone.
I mean, I guess we could give it a try, and I mean, see what happens.
Maybe after a year, you might actually get someone to volunteer. I just am not okay with it being a lottery. I'm not okay with the thing at all. But I mean, like we said, I mean, if that was the guy's choice, who are we not to support him in his decision?
So hear me out on this. All right, this may seem a little crazy, but all right, if we think we are where we are, and we're in the time loop, all right, and our goal, okay, is to save the city, right? People are dying, zombies around. The unvolunteering thing will get them food, but nothing else, right? You still got the zombies, but then you get the food. If we continue sacrificing people, we save the town. I mean, it's not the paladin type of thing to do, but other than that, I have nothing else. That's like some M. Night Shyamalan plot twist type of thing.
The other thing, maybe I'm just stupid, but since we're not really us here, what if one of us volunteered?
That would only solve it for this year, because if people don't remember, they're not going to volunteer.
I mean, that is an interesting thought, though.
Because maybe, I mean, again, like I said, I'd rather be nobody, but if it's going to be a willing, if they have to live through it for a year and can remember what that was like, maybe they would choose to make that sacrifice.
Wait. The assumption was maybe the lottery. Is the manor burnt down yet? Is the solution burning the manor down? Destroy the evil.
Okay, the manor was burnt down, and there were zombies at that time.
Oh, okay.
As you start to wrap your conversation, other aldermen are starting to come back in and be seated at the tables, and take their places around the council table. The two that had been talking, the young woman and the older man who've been seated next to Samara, separate, and one of them comes in and he takes his seat again. I think, he says, we should vote again. Let us consider the punishment. Someone guilty of a crime. Surely we can find someone who has committed a crime significant enough to be given the opportunity to volunteer. We can use it as an opportunity to redeem himself, to prove himself worthy, or herself, in the unlikely event that a woman would be capable of such a crime that we would ever want to punish with death. But on the off chance it happened, which it wouldn't, because, no offense. And the young woman at the end of the table says, speaks up. I agree to consider, I agree, yes. The most heinous crime of the year may be punished. The most heinous crime of the past year may be offered restitution through volunteering. I concur, 1 of 5. And the next one down the line pauses. I concur, 2 of 5. And it gets to the man in the middle of the table, and he shakes his head. we are banking too much that there will be a significant enough transgression within our community. We can't take that risk. I cannot condemn someone to death for a petty theft or a trespass. And we cannot be certain that whatever we establish today will survive the generations that have gotten us thus far. We have had good crops when we've had them. We've stockpiled for the years we have not. We have staved off the darkness of our forefathers. I am familiar with the texts. Nothing could be grown without the sun. The land was shrouded with sudden darkness, and it was the noble gestures of the Lord Warden who saw the path forward and made that first sacrifice. I cannot concur. And the man next to you slams his fist on the table with frustration. And the young woman at the end again says, well, then I propose, as my sister did, the lottery. Everyone is eligible. Names are drawn. And the winner of the lottery is granted the privilege of becoming the source of life for our community. And I add to it that we make a festival in their honor. We will celebrate their name in the fall harvests. The lottery and the rebirth from it. 1 of 5. And this time it comes fast. 2 of 5. 3 of 5. 4 of 5. And they turn to Samara.
Oh, goodness. I mean, what if we try something else? What if we sacrifice one of our own ourselves? What if one of us volunteers? What if I volunteer?
And the man is, are you insane? We represent the noble families that have led this community for generations now. Our bloodline is what has led us through all the other tribulations that befall a community of our size and stature. It is through our concurrence that we have led. We don't fall into petty squabbles. We've had peace. We have very few transgressions. We can't risk the bloodlines.
Oh, and what if we try not sacrificing anyone at all, and maybe nothing will happen?
And risk the darkness? Risk having no food to feed our families? You are fortunate you don't have children yet. You can be bold with this. I have grandchildren. They deserve to eat.
As you've said, there have been years, even when we did this, that it didn't work out.
But we had the sun. We had a chance. We can't go back to that.
But do you know that this is what works?
Why would we doubt it?
Because you're now talking about choosing someone, and it sounds like you're going to be excluding this family line from these drawings. I know you said everyone, but now it's like, oh, but one of us can't volunteer, so probably names aren't going to go in the hat. That doesn't sound about right either. And you're making them giving them the honor of being the sacrifice. It doesn't sound like even the same idea of what happened the first time.
The young woman at the end of the table has that same wry grin. We will all surely put our names in just the same as everyone else. We are no better than the people we lead. We are their brothers and sisters, their neighbors. We are their customers, and we are their patrons. We will all put our names in. It would break my heart to see that this decision be the first that does not pass this council by consensus in as long as this town can remember.
Oh, well, I feel like, what choice do I have?
So, Mara, would you do me a small favor?
Uh-huh.
Could you go ahead and hit that? I need you to. Where is it? Oh, that's right. They changed them. Darn. Give me a wisdom save.
Okay. Wisdom?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And before you realize what has happened, having rolled a 7, you find yourself saying, then with that, I concur, and we are 5 of 5. And there's a moment it's like, I didn't mean to say that. And everyone solemnly stands up from the table. And the gentleman in the middle says, I will draw up the documents and make the announcement within a fortnight. I think we should agree that we will not speak of what we have decided until we announce it to the town. And we have broadsides available to advertise so that all may understand the necessity of this decision. And there's a general nodding around the table without the vote. And as they start to filter out, the young woman comes to your side. I wouldn't worry. Our names will never be drawn.
Oh, dear.
And with that,
Oh, go ahead.
the light from the chandelier begins to glow brighter and brighter until it envelops the room. And you see nothing but the light. When you blink yourself back into visibility, boom, you see yourselves again in new forms and start to take stock of who you are. You are following along behind 3 people making their way up to the manor. An older man and a man and a woman, both in their mid-20s. They're keeping low to the ground as they approach, as they work their way up the road. They're obviously making an effort not to be seen. And they encourage you to do the same as they're going. As if one of you starts to stand up to look around, like, get down, get down, get down. What are you guys doing now?
Oh, yeah.
I'll stay sneaky with them, but I want to say, have they made the sacrifice yet?
No. No, the young one answers you. No, the drawing is tomorrow. The names were submitted tonight. They're under guard. And the older man looks at you. That's our plan. You knew that.
Oh yeah. Just testing it, making sure we're all still on the same page here.
Yeah, let's just go over the plan one more time very quietly so we're all on the same page.
Are you with us or are you not?
Of course I'm with you. I just don't want to screw it up in the heat of the moment.
Well, the young man speaks. Well, it's not much of a plan, to be honest. We know that the lottery is rigged. We know that no alderman name ends up in it. None have been drawn in 60 years of the lottery. There has to be something they're doing. So we're going to go find out. We're going to verify that every name is still in there, as it should be. And the young woman smiles. He's cute, but he's right. There's no plan. He's not smart enough to come up with one. That's my son. Shut up. He turns and starts going back up the road. And he's keeping along the side of the road in the tree line as he goes.
I'll follow along.
I mean, there's more than one way they could do it. They could just have all the names in there and not announce it if it's said, just say someone else's name. I mean, so what are we even going to prove? We're not stupid.
Well, shouldn't we, take the list as proof or like to show everybody? In case their names aren't on there?
What would it matter? I mean, they could have the names on there and just always have a pre-chosen person.
Well, the young woman overhears that and turns around. Well, that doesn't work. They draw the name out and they read it and show it. The only way it could be rigged is if they change the names that are inside that jar overnight.
I guess this is the only way to find out.
As you work your way up towards the manor, you notice that this time it is exactly more or less as your last approach. Every other time you have traveled this road, there have been more trees, less trees. The road has been wider or more narrow, but now it really feels familiar. You can actually pick out one of the stumps that the raven had roosted upon as you passed it, what seems like ages ago already, as you have been leaping through different times and bodies, and the fatigue of which is noticeable. When you get up to the manor, you can see that it has completely collapsed over time. The stained glass is gone. It's not burned, it's just neglected, as though no one would come here except for the annual town meeting. As you start to get closer, you can see that near the side entrance and where the stairs go down, there are a pair of guards who have been posted with swords on their sides, and you realize that you yourselves are unarmed. Right. The older man turns around to the group. So, we're here. Now would be a good time for us to come up with a plan. How do we get inside? And the young woman kind of leans over towards Samar. I told you they're both cute, but not smart.
I can see that. So, well, we know that nobody should be here, right? I mean, unless they have somebody guarding the list, because, because the name drawing is fast approaching. But technically, there shouldn't be anybody here. So we should have, I guess, maybe somebody try to scout out and see if there's anybody around.
There's the guards. They're always posted overnight. That's considered an honor to act as a guard to it. And the names are kept below, back down in the chamber of giving.
Then we need to create a distraction, something to draw the guards away.
The older man, that's a good plan. What did you have in mind?
You want to get help?
Sure, you should get help with the techie. That would be a good plan.
I was actually thinking with Dagan, and then when they come, we could just take them out.
Well, all right, let's do it. Let's go for that.
You know how we used to do back when we were doing more unscrupulous things.
It wouldn't be my first time.
Okay. Who's doing what? The DM asked curiously.
I will. Well, my suggestion would be that Jagan act like the wounded one, so they run to check up on him, and then he just grapples the crap out of them and disarms them. We take their weapons and we pin them down. We don't need to kill them, of course. Just disarm and get rid of them.
I'm gonna glance over myself in this body. Do I look capable like I am in reality?
Probably. I mean, you're still mostly you. For the most part. So probably you could. I mean, it's not like you're not feeling arthritic, and it doesn't. Your steps don't hurt or anything. So most of your muscle memory should still kick in. Your reflexes. It's just a matter of, is that the plan?
I mean, I'm all right with that. If you
Either
guys
that,
want,
or we could just be like, "Oh, he's so wounded, please help," and then just you guys run past while we're just distracting them with his, I don't know, fake illness of some sort.
Yeah. I mean, either one of those plans could work, but I think the get help is really funny.
What kind of snakes are around here?
What kind of what? Oh,
Snakes.
Give me a roll. Let's see what happens.
All right.
Let's see. This is a territory that you have almost no knowledge of.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, probably just wisdom.
This would be a animal handling, maybe?
Oh, I don't want to handle. Well,
nature.
Survival.
Nature or survival. Survival. I'm good with survival.
I have good nature.
and so is he.
Yes. You actually have spotted multiple crested diamond patterned snakes that definitely are venomous in this area. Like you just while walking, you're like, oh, that's a venomous snake. I should remember later that there's a venomous snake that lives in these swamp areas, and that just bam back to your head. Because with an 18,
you've been bitten by this snake, and we need you. We need you to go get antivenom. Come on, we need to get him back to town as fast as possible. Yes, get help. We're doing get help. What kind? He's just wearing clothes, right?
Yes.
Regular clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rip his pants. Let's throw some berries or whatever, like smushed berries, because it's a little tiny bite, right? So whatever. Let's make it look convincing.
Does anybody have any hairpins or there's some sharp sticks I could find? Because I'm not above just stabbing myself a couple times.
Oh, I can give you a hairpin. I can pull a hairpin out of my hair to give you to stab your leg or something.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yes.
So we're beating ourselves up before we jump some guards.
We're not jumping. We're completely forgoing the actual combat part.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we're gonna try to sneak by afterwards?
You guys run back while we're like, oh my god, he was bit by the diamond adder snake.
That's a better plan, because then maybe we can escape without anybody knowing.
The older man looks and goes, this is a good plan. You four will call for the help. We'll rush past them. And then we can prove.
No,
We're smart.
I feel like you two should make sure that those three don't screw it up.
The young man goes, we've come this far. I need to know for myself. I can't believe the alderman would tamper with this. It's generations. I still think they're both crazy.
I don't think they're going to be able to go through with it, guys.
Well, maybe they cry for help and we go in.
Okay, so who's leading the charge?
Let's do it. Let's do get help. I really do think Azteki and Samara should go check it out.
Oh wait, we have a bedtime demand.
Sorry,
Should we
apparently it's
pause?
bedtime. Yeah, if we can pause.
Okay, we can take a pause. We're at a nice high stress moment. We've been at this for a pretty good stretch. If people want to take that breather, I'm actually gonna refresh my beverage too. And thank you for the subscription, Ms. Bia. I'm glad to have you hanging out with us tonight. Please don't go far. We're just gonna take a very short breather, and get back and see how the Get Help plan works. I'm not sure what'll happen here, but
It's gonna be flawless.
stranger things have happened. I'm going to put one thing up before I step away, and then I'm going to get my beverage.
Okay.
If I can find it in a second, I'm going to put it up.
I love that we're doing Get Help. That's great.
Open image. Boom. Yep, that's the one. Boom. And then I'll go ahead and throw this. Boom. Huh? That should have. Oh. All right. I'm going to come bring us back live. I'm going to unmute people who are actually back at their seats, which is always good. Oh, there we go. And turn that on. Make sure we're all of our audio is back up and running. I was looking for the, hey, let's do help, get help. We're not doing get help meme from the Avengers.
No, I mean, technically it's not. It's not actually that, but it's close.
But yeah, this has been a. I was telling a few people. There's a couple of friends in another server that that talked me through tonight, because as of Friday I didn't have tonight planned.
Really?
As of Friday, my plan for tonight, still in my notes, said exposition in an interesting way. So I was like, oh, I gotta write something.
Write something quick.
So belatedly, but out loud, just thank you to everyone for coming in. And again, thank you for the raid, and thank you for the subscription. Ms. B, we love having you here. We love your face. And welcome aboard, Sonic. It's good to have you. As we continue our adventures and our explorations, and with an amazing cast of characters whom I adore having here. This has been so much fun. I just, while we're pausing, I just want to say this, how fun it is to just get back and play D&D.
Yes.
I have
fun.
missed this. You know.
I agree.
Yeah. So, but you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll even get crazy and plan some kind of wacky one shot for Black Friday. I mean, if I was really on my game, I would put together like a mostly combat-based scenario where it's like the market has been open. The dwarven markets have been open for one day. You each have 800 gold. Good luck getting the best stuff from all the smithies. Go. And it's full contact.
That's my battle axe +1.
Yeah, full contact shopping. So like if you want to magic missile a guy before he can get to that particular stall, by all means take him out. I don't know if I have the creativity to throw that together in a couple of days. So who knows? I feel obligated now that I've said, like, crap. Now I gotta do something on Black Friday. But if we're all back and ready to go, let me transition into that. Put that away because I don't know if we're gonna need it. I'm going to go ahead and put that away as well. Put that out because I have a feeling we're going to need to roll some dice at some point, though. So, the four of you, with the three townspeople, are now standing there kind of in the shrubs, brush, with about 50 to 100 yards of open garden between you and the remains of the building, and two guards posted at the top of the stairs to the lower regions. Who does what?
I have a small amendment to the plan. Rip the back of my shirt and stab me twice too. We're going to carry him over and say, help, he's been bitten by a snake. And I will describe the snake. And then also be like, I don't feel so good. And then also fall out. So there's no way that you guys could just take him home.
Well, I think that we should insist upon, joining the other people into sneaking in and checking out what's up with the lottery tickets.
You could do that too. That's up to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was planning on going with them to make sure, I don't know, things go smoothly.
Smoothly. Smoothly.
Well,
I don't know. Just to make sure, whatever happens, I don't know. Whatever happens, but
Okay. So if I'm following what's about to happen correctly, Dagon and Frederick are going to approach the guards.
Yes, I'm going to have his arm over my shoulder, and I'm going to be trying to support him. You limp on the leg that you've stabbed, and you say, and I'm going to say that we walked into a barrel of snakes on accident, trying to have a celebration before the night of the draw of the lottery. I know it's supposed to be a solemn day, but it's also a time of being joyous. And we got lost and bit by snakes. Well, he got bit by a snake. I'm just fine, and then I'll pass out too.
Okay. So you start out. The man and the two younger people are like, yeah, good plan. We like this plan. Boom.
Bless you.
bless you.
Bless you again.
Bless you 3
Sorry.
times.
Bless you
Sorry.
again. That's the limit, though.
That is the limit. You make your way up, and the guards are like, hold there, stop. You know no one's allowed up here until the drawing tomorrow.
I'm just gonna go.
Yes,
reach
we
out.
know. We were out partying, celebrating the drawing tomorrow, and we walked into a barrel of snakes on accident, and my friend got bit here.
Help me.
Well, you need to get him back to town. You can't.
Yeah,
you
I know we
can't
need
be
to get
here.
Back to town. We're just lost. Can you help us find our way back to?
Follow
and then
the
I'm gonna fall
road.
out.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just gonna fall face first.
Okay. Well,
Freddy, my only hope.
Kurthud. Frederick, would you do me a small favor though and grab that die and give it a roll?
Performance,
Yeah. Well,
deception.
I'll let you pick which one you're going for.
Deception.
Okay. I'll let you pick.
I think I'm gonna take one of those fancy rerolls.
Okay. There goes the fancy reroll. Has been used.
Much better. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that worked. The fate has been twisted, and you're able to get through that. They're like, oh my gosh, and they both kind of leap forward to like prop you up before you actually hit the ground all the way. We can't abandon our puzzle. We can't just leave them here. And they start to get into a bit of a like, what do we do? Well, we can't abandon our post. The most sacred duty of any guard is to stand watch over the lottery. We can't not be here. Maybe we could just bury them. Well, they're not dead yet. Well, but they will be.
You can't just bury us.
But we can't abandon our. And then you hear this thwack as the first guard hits the ground in front of you. And the second guard turns to see what happened as the young woman's club swings and clocks him square in the side of the head. And he drops. And she looks at her partner, and he looks at her, and then they kiss. And the older man says, would you two not... Oh, for God's sake. And he starts...
Young love.
Don't get me started on that.
Well, that worked out.
And they head in and down the stairs. What are y'all doing?
Let's carry them inside. In case anyone's actually out here.
I agree. Probably should, bring the guard's body somewhere where they're not going to be just found easily.
And be gentle. Let's be gentle.
Yeah.
I'll just always run up over my back and be like, all right, I'm taking this one.
I can't do that. I'm not even going to pretend I can do that.
So you drag the bodies inside and start to get them kind of like down the stairs a bit so they're somewhat out of sight. And they're like almost not waiting for you as you go down the stairs.
It's fine. I figured they wouldn't.
You make your way down behind them, and again, the hallway the path is cleared, but you can see that they're just piles of dirt pushed to the sides. It's not that same cleanliness it had when you were last through here 150 years ago. The armors, the two suits of armor still remain propped up on their stands. In the portrait, the man is now in gray robes, and he's no longer holding light in his hands. And he's still watching you approach. And you swear his eyes are moving this time.
We're not lighting the braziers.
Let's grab those guard swords just in case he gets angry at us again.
Good idea.
Loot the bodies, loot the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You make your way down, and you can hear shouting up and around the corner. And there's a very clear, I knew you could not be trusted. As you come around the corner into the room underneath what's left of the manor, you can see that there are 4 people standing at the altar next to a large stonework jar. There are several guards standing about them, each with a similar mark to their uniforms of the different. You're starting to pick up on the houses of the Elderman Council. And you recognize one of the Eldermen as the old woman from before that had given you your advice. And she says nothing as the other Eldermen shout, you don't know what you're talking about. Guards, seize them. And it's not, they're vastly outnumbered as the guards surround them. Put them in shackles. What are you guys up to?
We are still unarmed, so I don't know what we could be up to.
Well, now technically,
we got 2 swords,
you have
right?
2 swords between the 4 of you.
Yeah.
And Samara hasn't tested her magic yet. Hard to say what you can and can't do.
How many guards?
There are 15.
Yeah, no, we can't fight 15 guards.
geez.
Well, you do have, now to be fair, you have a reroll banked, and you have +6 you can apply to rolls. Just full disclosure, the viewers are trying to help you guys. If you want to go for it, I will not stop you, but I'm just giving you all of the information.
I would not advise starting a fight with these guards. I don't think it would be a good idea.
And to be fair, 6 of them are currently occupied because they've grabbed on to the 3 people who led you there. As you stand in the doorway kind of contemplating your options, you also notice that no one has noticed you.
I mean, yeah, give Dagon 2 swords and let him go ham, but without proper equipment, I'm useless. So.
How quickly can I make a bow out of common everyday items?
Right, exactly. I'm not MacGyver, unfortunately.
Well, you do have survival. You could roll it. A natural 20 would let you make a bow out of the handy things around you, but yeah, it's kind of a long shot.
It would take, nat 20. And is there a bow in the room?
Nope.
Yeah.
As you watch, the people are put, they're bound quickly. And the old woman comes around the altar and has that crooked grin and says, it's a shame that you came here because we can't have you tell anyone what you have seen. And then
If you take the old woman as a prisoner, we could be in a better situation. Not to interrupt, I'm just saying that This is something we could do.
She reaches up and touches the cheek of the older man that led you up here. I will miss you so terribly. And as you stand there, the room begins to fill as though it's a slow fade in the film with the crowd. And unlike previously where you were pulled between locations with a burst of light, this is more of a slow, like right where you are, you're watching as the entire community phases into existence in this space. There are 5 people at the front. The 3 that brought you up here are bound and kneeling in front of the altar. The old woman on the Elderman Council is standing in her place along the line of the others. And in the crowd, you can actually see a shock of white hair towards the back. And you glance over and recognize Misha is standing there in the back of the crowd watching. One of the eldermen raises his hand to silence the crowd, and they lower their sounds. I want to remind you that this is not a choice we make easily. These 3 were attempting to change the outcome of our honored tradition. They were attempting to change the names in the jar to ensure they could not be selected. And the crowd erupts in a roar of jeers and boos. He puts his hand down again. We do not take this lightly, as the lottery has been our tradition to ensure that one person comes to this chamber of giving and ensures life in our community. But we cannot have this sacred tradition sullied thusly. And thus, I vote that we sentence these 3 to death as the lottery offering of this season. And without a hesitation, the old woman speaks from her spot in the line. I concur, 1 of 5. And they go down the line. 2 of 5. 3 of 5. 4 of 5. And when the last one says 5 of 5, you actually watch as Misha passes you without even noticing your existence to walk out of the chamber. You see as the crowd begins to swell with energy and roar and almost like a cheer of excitement. And you can catch snippets. Maybe 3 is enough to permanently end the darkness. This may be the last sacrifice ever. You watch as 3 of the eldermen take places at the front of the 3 prisoners. They raise their knives, and everything vanishes. You are standing in the same chamber. There are 3 ethereal forms standing about the altar in front of you that you recognize as the 3 people you helped sneak in to this space. And you look down and you are back in your own bodies. By the way, that hurts a lot for 2 of you. Like there's a moment where you're like, you kind of forgot that some of your insides had made their way to their outside before all of this had happened. And now that's like, oh yes, that's right. That part of my body should be on the inside.
That's right.
Yeah. As they say,
Can you send me back?
time travel's a bitch. And they look at you, and you can tell they can see you as well as you can see them. And the older of the 3 is the old man is the one who addresses you. You saw what was done, and you see the vengeance that we bring upon them. They lied. They cheated. They murdered so they would know abundance. So we allowed it to them. We blessed them with bounty. And we will ensure that every last one of them suffers every moment of their last days.
there any way we can help? Like, can we reverse this? Is there a way that we can stop this
They
cycle?
chose this.
They did. They did choose this by the decisions, the choices they made, but there has to be a way they can redeem. There has to be a way they can redeem themselves and turn it around.
Well, it seems a bit extreme too. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for the Eldermen, maybe it wouldn't have turned out like this.
Right.
They were all complicit. Year after year, they all opted in. There were 5 aldermen, and how many in the rest of the town?
It's not even just one town. It was generations of towns that chose to do this over and over again. I say let them burn.
So are we talking about just the elders though here? Are we talking about the whole town? Like, I mean, I can understand like, you know, faulting the elders, you know, over the generations. But what about the townspeople? They weren't always aware, you know, of the fact that the elders were kind of deceiving them, you know, by tricking them and not putting their own names in there.
True, but they were still allowing it to happen. I mean, we only saw what 3 or 4 times when they could have made a decision to do the other times. I mean, they had a decision every year, at least once, and they chose to do the same thing. And like I was saying before,
it was always
like,
the elders, though, right? That kind of decided this.
even the last time when the 3 of them were executed, like the whole town was there cheering it on. Maybe it'll be enough to. I mean, like to them, it was worth it. It was a worthy gamble to sacrifice 3 people than to take the gamble of sacrificing no one.
You got to think too, though. This is generations. So, like, people who were born into this, like, this is just completely the norm for them. How would they even have a chance to do any different?
Right.
I'm on the elders have to be punished bandwagon. The population, the mob, like you said, were lied to and deceived. It's the elders that deserve justice.
But I mean, this generation of elders weren't even around for the first sacrifice. You know what I mean? They also were told this is the thing you have to do. Yes, they came up with the lottery, and yes, they cheated it, and for that they should probably be punished. But in a way, they have the same level of being born into it. So if you were giving that pass, they would get at least part of that pass as well.
What if we expose, you know, we shed some light on this, and they all just kind of tear themselves apart?
How would we prove it?
I don't know.
Are the offerings still happening? Would ending the sacrifice and the ritual of the sacrifice appease them?
There is no sacrifice now. We ensure this chamber is not for mortals. You are fortunate to have traveled as far as you did within it. But we have added mightily to the ranks of our wrathful undead as people have tried to come here. There will never be a sacrifice in this chamber of giving again. It's only a matter of time before there is not another living soul in Moon's Hollow.
And then what? What is that for you then?
The vengeance has been had. The cycle is
And then
ended.
what do you do?
We can sleep in peace.
There has to be another way to end the cycle than just let everybody in the town just die.
Oh, they're not just dying. They are falling
Or-
with bellies full. We just need but one thing. If you find our cause just, we need simply the wand of Charlotte known as Charlotte the Just. It is the artifact in the town church. Bring it to us, and it will bind us here. It will ensure that we have the strength to finally wipe this little hamlet off the map.
It seems like a perversion of justice to me.
Mm-hmm. Why should we help you
You said
with this?
you want to see justice done.
And this, I don't know how if this seems like justice to me.
Then what would be?
Not sure.
I could see, like the wino. That little crooked smile of hers.
Is she the only one that we recognized?
No, but she was the most distinctive.
Okay.
There was the
Because I'm like, man, we could just drag her ass over here and let them finish her off. And if that's it, then maybe they'll be done. But I don't think that's going to be enough.
the only artifact that honestly we need to complete this and ensure that this town never knows the living again is the wand of Charlotte the Just. If you can bring it to us from the church, if you can get it out of that holy sanctuary, we will have our vengeance, and we are certain we can grant you passage, living out of this town. There is enough energy in that wand to ensure.
Well, I would like to stay in
Church.
good graces.
Pardon?
I said I would like to stay in their good graces and look for this wand.
Nope. Ab?
Is that really the right choice though? Like, is that, the way we want to go? Like, what about the poor townspeople that we helped, rescue? And, they're, I mean, they really, I mean, at least this generation hasn't really, I feel like they haven't been involved in the sacrifices like previous generations.
They were all there. This is so not long ago that Misha was alive.
She was alive, it's true, but I mean, I feel like
It sounds like that was 18 months ago. If we're going to be honest about the timeline, it sounds like this was when everything went bad. So, I mean, they were all here when it happened. Now, maybe we could expose and have the ruling class brought in here, have the aldermen executed as they were. That sounds like justice, but we don't even know if that's justice enough for them. Plus, they don't want anyone else to be sacrificed. So, I mean, that's kind of like the opposite of what it sounds like they want.
I would like to grab the wizard, pull her close, and whisper in her ear, if you're not ready to take a fight now, it's best to leave, get the wand, and see if we could use it against them to save the people, if that's what you want to do.
I think we should do something to save the people, the townspeople that, not the elders, but at least the townspeople who no longer wanted to partake in the ritual sacrifices.
Well, we could ask them. I mean, like, would you guys be okay with that? If we somehow exposed what you were trying to expose, prove to the remaining people that it is their fault, that they are responsible for all of this.
The spirit of the young woman is the one who answers that. We are too far gone to compromise. And you can hear a certain sorrow in her voice when she does speak. We have committed. We will not have peace while there is living breath within this community. And the older man kind of waves towards the door. You are free to choose your course. Bring us the wand so that we may use its power to bind ourselves and ensure that those who brought evil will know evil. Those who were willing to sacrifice life for bounty will know vengeful justice. And the three spirits disappear.
Well, they don't seem happy.
Nope, they are not happy at all.
I mean, I can't blame them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, we were there. I mean, kind of there. They were just trying to expose the corruption, and they were executed for it. To cheering, to hope. I mean, that's disgusting.
We will find the wand and we will bring them peace. Not the way that they want it, but we will give it to them.
My mind is running because these guys don't have anything to do with this darkness, this curse of darkness that has befallen the land. So does that seem like maybe something that's even more powerful than the hold they have going on right now?
Oh, probably. I mean, it has nothing to do with the darkness, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, and there's only one way to find out. We can go retrieve the wand and see if we can learn anything about it along the way, and if there's any way we can use it to stop this in a peaceful manner.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what we're doing until we have that thing and see what its true capabilities are.
Right, I agree.
Okay, so where are you going? What's your next move from here in the immediacy?
I mean, I feel like we should go back and talk to Misha, honestly.
Solid move.
Agreed.
And she's related to the wino lady, right? So what if, because I kind of feel like we need to go through wino lady's place and see if there's anything incriminating there or just look for something.
Well,
I mean, we could. Yeah. I mean, and we could also just lean into her a little bit and be like, we know what you did.
Yeah, what's the objective here? Do we got, from what I see, we can go and try to find some way of defeating these people that were wronged but are doing the wrong thing. They're too far gone, right? We can expose the people that did it, right? And maybe that will appease them. Probably not. They said that they weren't down for that. I'm trying to think if there's a third option to solve this zombie splash.
Ask your god what might be the right course of action.
Well, then I ask for guidance. Divine guidance. What is the righteous choice?
It's actually not hard to notice when you look around that this was itself a holy place. There's still the iconery is tattered and tarnished as is over the years of the light of the raven descending from on high with good tidings. But what you're not feeling when you meditate and pray is a clear course, that there is a balance to be had, that there is justice to be done. But what is justice and what separates justice from vengeance? And it leaves you without a clear answer. That the path for you as a paladin of Ravenkind is to decide justice in the moment. And that will be as justice is defined.
This is the way.
This is the way.
So I'm assuming you're going to eventually work your way out of this chamber of giving. Where do you head?
It was Misha, right? We're gonna hit like the tavern.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think she's in the tavern. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's either the tavern or the elders. I would check out the tavern first.
She didn't seem too comfortable hanging out with the elders for reasons that are now obvious to us.
we could also try talking. Well, we could have one or two of us try talking to whatever the wino lady, and
I think if we're going to confront the wino lady, even with just suspicions, it needs to be all of us there in case she tries something shady.
well,
Like
not
executing all of us in
not
front
to
of the rest of
confront
town.
her, more to distract her, like maybe lure her to the tavern or something to talk to her, and somebody else can go and investigate her things, like her house or her belongings, or any, I don't know, whatever.
We have to figure out what's up with the wand and how we can use it against them, if need be. Not saying that I want to do that right now. I haven't figured that out, but that's where I'm leaning.
Well, they said tell it the church, so maybe the priest might know about it.
Yeah, and if they have this like immensely powerful magic wand, why aren't they using it?
Yeah, and what's it gonna take to get it from them?
Well, we don't. Who said that we had to ask them and to get it from them?
So the honey badger just takes what she wants?
Man, we were trying to turn over that leaf, right? We were trying to like be on the straight and narrow. What are we doing? We're gonna go steal from a church? Come on, man.
I do not expect any moral qualms from Nebula. I've read about what happens in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Stealing from churches is on the table.
It makes you rich.
Guilty.
That's it. It's gonna go all Valhalla on this town, and
Oh, you have
Just
one.
use the cover of the zombies and just raid the town.
You do have a vote from the peanut gallery of burn the village. Then there can't be any more sacrifices. Yes, let the evil flow through you.
I mean, if we just kick down all the fortifications so they can't hold anymore, but that's literally just killing the rest of the town, which is what they want in the first place.
Right.
You make your way back up the road. And I'm going to need... Let's get some more dice rolling. We haven't done that a lot tonight.
Yes.
Let's see. Who do I want? I would love it if everybody can give me a perception test. Let's just do that. Fire the great purifies. Yeah, there's something to be said for fire. Bum 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 bum.
We see everything.
Yeah, I was to say, well, there is no the low roll is not going to notice this. It's like, nope. Boom, 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 boom. That's impressive.
Wow. Oof.
It's a shame it's not combat. Hey, just for giggles, Neb, can you roll a d10? Okay, like just humor me for a second.
Watch it be like the highest thing that like you can roll.
Just for the giggles.
No. But at least it's not a
yeah.
1.
It's
Okay.
not a one.
Yeah.
So if this had been thing. Yeah, there's options. As you come out, you notice it's not long that you have to travel down the road that you see that Misha has not actually returned to town, but as instead is watching watching for you to come back out. She was trying to stay hidden, and it just, no. I'm never going to roll her stealth check. And
What you doing trying to hide in the bushes, white hair?
Just wanted to be sure you were okay.
Do we look okay? Do you see like our insides on the outside?
You do look like you've seen something. What happened?
Zombies. The same thing that always happens.
I'm gonna make my list.
Okay.
So good night.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Okay. And there she goes. I wish I knew what list she just said she was going to go make, because I have a bad feeling about this. Anyway. She's did you find a way though? Did you find anything besides zombies?
We found out the secrets.
Saw the Chamber of Giving.
Yes, that.
Giving.
Not very well labeled, that Chamber of Giving.
But
to have such a very specific name called the Chamber of Giving.
Were you able to destroy it? Is it over?
Just destroy a crypt? Are you serious?
Well, but you came out. I mean, it's over, right? You've ended it.
Not quite. Let's say we had an interesting series of visions about how that chamber was used in the past.
Okay. I don't follow.
Such as the 3 people you were actually there when the 3 people were executed by your grandmother.
They were attempting to rig the lottery.
They were attempting to expose corruption in the lottery.
Your grandmother's a sleeping viper.
Are you
Or
insane?
whatever that other snake is called.
No, they were attempting to rig the lottery.
No, we saw it. It happened before our own eyes. It was the other way around.
How could you have been there? You've been in town for 4 days.
How can there be zombies that can phase into the ground and then rematerialize?
I just don't believe it. And you can find your own way back to town.
I mean, we're going to be walking the same direction unless you're walking a different way.
Awkward.
Before we go, what do you know about magic wands?
I know the last time a gentleman asked me about that, I smacked him.
Oh!
Probably well deserved.
What happened to that Aztec charm?
Should have rolled for that.
But I assume you have more noble intentions. What are you talking about?
So, we think if we can get our hands on this wand that's in this church, we might be able to end this for real.
The wand in the church? I don't know of anything like that. I mean, it is true the church has been thus spared any attacks. It's so far.
Is it possible there's a relic which you may not be aware of that is in the church that is a wand that nobody knows about? That is the reason behind this.
I suppose. I mean, we've just assumed that the church was a place of righteousness. And that's why it has been mostly spared the attacks. But now that I suppose it's possible there's something there that's actually keeping them at bay.
Is there a way we could talk to the priest of the church? I think he might know more about this.
We could ask Sister Leanna. She would probably know something.
Okay. And where can we find? Is she in the church?
If she's not there praying, she often tends to the wounded somewhere in town. She has been trying very hard to keep herself safe and keep the hope up for those of us that are surviving.
Yeah, because we could totally use some tending right now, honestly.
Perhaps you should.
No kidding.
We could head back to your house and fortify for the night.
I could certainly use a rest.
Yeah, I think all of us do. We all need a rest and mending.
She says, I just can't believe that they weren't trying to rig it. I know what they did was I know what grandmother did was wrong. But you're making a very serious accusation.
You're right. I want proof either way. Like, I would like to know that this wasn't the case. I totally would love to believe that we were just deceived by whatever was in there, but I can't go on faith.
Yeah, we have a strong reason to believe that some of the elders may have rigged their lottery so that none of their names were ever drawn. And I know it's hard to believe, but we did see these visions, and can we say these visions were real or not? We don't know, but maybe if we can find proof of this,
There is one place we could start. I mean, there's got to be a law, right? It was a celebration every harvest season, correct? That after the people were sacrificed, if there was never an alderman sacrificed, as long as there was a lottery, that's kind of suspicious. At least leans us in a direction. If there was one on there, then maybe it was a lie.
You continue to make your way back towards town as you're discussing this. Misha's keeping more distance from the four of you than she has in the past. And is really, she's having a hard time with the accusation. You start to come up on your home, and what do you need from me? What can I do?
Keep what we shared between us.
Find a way to prove the innocence. I would much rather believe that she was innocent.
What do you want me to find? I mean, you're asking me to prove that my grandmother has been lying her whole life.
No, prove that she hasn't been lying her whole life. Quite the opposite.
How do I prove that? How do I prove that the tradition is, it was wrong what happened to to the three of them, but
I mean, is the lottery drawing, was that a cup chest? Is that still around?
I don't know. And if it was, are you suggesting perhaps the names are still in it now?
Possibly.
That would be somehow proof?
They never drew the names. So, I mean, all the names that were put in there should still be in there if it's not randomly destroyed somehow.
Okay. It's just, I can ask after it and see if anything turns up.
And a list of the people who were sacrificed would also be helpful, because like I said, if there's an alderman on there, then clearly it's baseless. It's a deception that was placed upon us by the Chamber of Giving.
Okay, I'll see what I can find. And yes, I'll see what I can find. And she takes her leave of you as you work your way into your borrowed home. Okay. Sorry about that. I take it you guys are going to sleep for the night? Okay.
Yeah, as long as the zombies let us.
Oddly enough, there are no alarms over the course of the night. No warning bells, no screams, no beating on the door. You awake to the same dreary, is it morning feeling that you had last time you bunked for a night. And when you come down, your sitting room, as it were, has Misha, her grandmother, and another elderman have been waiting for you.
Hands on swords. Not drawn.
Uh-oh.
I'd like to have my coffee before we start talking.
That's fair. That's fair. Caffeine may be necessary. And the alderman's the one who speaks. I understand that you have been filling Misha's head with tales. Would you care to reiterate your accusation?
She's a rat.
Tails, no. We just tried to clear out the area. We didn't try to clear out the area that nobody told us about. We were not officially asked to do anything, so we didn't do anything. We just hung out outside of town.
She said that you had accused the Alderman Council of tampering with the lottery. And Misha has been staring at the floors. I didn't know what else to say when they found me going through the logbooks for the city. I couldn't lie to my grandmother.
Well, sounds like she could have lied to you. No problem. I guess it doesn't run in the family.
And the old woman goes, "It doesn't matter whether or not I lied. You'll find plenty of alderman names on that list. We weren't fools." Do you think
So
we
you
would go 50 years
doctored
without
the
a single
list?
member of our family winning the lottery? How long could we have kept that ruse up before everyone became aware?
So where is this list? Can we see it?
Well, to what end?
Curiosity.
We just want to make sure that we have all the correct facts to go on. We're
The
trying to
fact
help.
is that multiple generations ago, 160, 70 years, this land was cursed. And we found a way to stop it.
Well,
How's that been working out for you, buddy?
Well, now aren't we in a bit of a dilemma?
here's we are.
But I suppose we can suspend the cloak and dagger and the turning of daughter against grandmother. Ask me your question and ask it plain. I'm old. I haven't long to live to wait for a good question.
You wouldn't have to be old to not have long to live here.
What do you know about magic wands?
He couldn't help himself.
I think that was a legitimate question. I don't think it was.
Yes,
meant to be
yes.
any-
I legitimately ask about what's the name of the wand? I keep trying to think of the name of the wand. You guys remember the name? I'm sorry. What's the name of the wand?
Charlotte the Just?
Charlotte the Just. What do you know about Charlotte the Just?
Well, Charlotte the Just is the patron of our church. And it would be appropriate that there is an artifact of hers within its walls. A wand would be reasonable. That's all you have to ask me.
If that's the case, why haven't you used it against the zombies?
Perhaps because we didn't know how. Or we don't believe it's strong enough. Why are you asking after it?
What do you know about this Charlotte the Just wand? What is there anything you can tell us about it that may help?
It's a religious artifact. It's meant to make people feel good that Charlotte is present in the church. Why are you asking about it?
Who was this Charlotte?
A saint of the light. Known for being just, I assume, from the title.
Doesn't sound too interested in justice now, does he?
Yes. The gentleman of the elder councils. Do you have anything of substance to ask other than tales of faith?
I'm gonna get right up in the old lady's face. I'm gonna look her right in the eyes. I'm gonna say, "Have we seen too much?"
I don't know what you've seen, but you've filled my granddaughter's mind with stories of malfeasance and mischief. If you have an accusation, make the damn thing.
Well, it's only because we had an interesting occurrence in the underground altar, of giving.
The chamber of giving.
Chamber of giving, excuse me. And we had a series of visions that showed us what would appear to be visions from the past and what happened over the course of generations in the chamber of giving that would lead us to believe that some ill informed decisions were made at those times.
Ill-informed decisions that ensured that we had food to eat, that our children had strength to grow. Ill-informed indeed, my dear young lady. Perish the thought that an elder council would look after its wards.
The same way it looks after them when it sacrifices them to the altar.
What was done was done. And if this is all you have to ask, then I suppose I have no more need to be here.
Those last three, the last sacrifice that you guys made, do your hands ever feel clean anymore? Did it ever feel better afterwards?
Well, now the zombies started to attack the town shortly after. It's hard to stay clean at all during that kind of thing, isn't it?
True that.
Why kill 3 though? I mean, you guys seem like you're all down with this tradition. Everything's always got to be the same, and yet all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when all this started happening, you throw 3 heads on the block. Come on, lady.
They were No. They would have revealed everything. They would have ruined decades of tradition. What would you have
was
done?
there to hide?
Let them
What
turn.
was there to hide if it was a well-known tradition? And what is there to hide if the lottery was fair and equal?
Well, of course it wasn't fair and equal. Do you think we are fools? Do you think I would risk my granddaughter's life on a chance, as slight as it may be?
Well, I think that was your mistake, because I think this may have brought upon a heavy toll on your town that you didn't realize.
Oh, I realize now. And let's be plain. And she stands up. And for a small old woman, there's a moment where you're taken with the fact that she can stand very straight and very proud. Perhaps you have issue with my behavior and that of my co-counsel. Perhaps you feel it just that I be struck down in the street by a rampaging member of the Undead Legion. Fine. I suggested a lottery. I pressured the council. I take responsibility for ensuring that my family is safe, and I would do it again. But do you feel justice is done by seeing my granddaughter struck down beside me? I think not, and I think your heart tells you the same. So now you are at a crossroads. And then she turns and strides out of the house.
We can take her.
No, let's not just execute her in the house, because that doesn't actually resolve anything as far as like letting everybody else know what's going on.
No, but I feel better punching her in the face.
I mean, I'd feel better punching her in the face. To be honest, if my bow was drawn, she might have taken an arrow in the back.
Yeah, she's one spicy woman there. That one.
I just probably would have been watching Misha this whole time. I wanted to see the revelation. I wanted to see the understanding.
She has not looked up from the ground.
Did she go with him, or is she staying here
She's
with us?
still standing there, and the gentleman from the Elderman Council is also still there. He looks at all of you. As she has said, if you wish to reveal the deception, that is your choice. Some of the town will believe you, some won't. But there's a simple fact. That won't change anything. We are beset. Perhaps you have a plan to end it. Perhaps you don't. But the fact is, over time, we will slowly retreat closer and closer to the town center until that church is the last building left safe, and then it will most likely be overrun. And that is our fate. And we will
And
fight.
you're okay with that? Like that's fine to you?
We have tried all other paths. So, we will last as long as we might. In many ways, she was not wrong. You are indeed at a crossroads. Good day.
I'm
Well,
leaning
I would
more
like
and
him
more
to-
towards these people deserve this shit.
I would like
Well,
I would
I'm
like
feeling
him to
the same
know on the
way.
way out that his deceptions are such a cloud amongst the people of this town as the very fog that's destroying them.
We've got a
Zing.
poet.
He nods as you shout at him, but he's still leaving. And you all have to make a decision about your course of action, which is exactly where we are going to start next week.
All right. Sounds good.
Thus concludes officially Act 3 of No Rest for the Wicked.
So good. Sorry about the audio problems. I finally figured it out. It wasn't going through this mic. It was going through the webcam.
Oh man,
So I
that's totally
disabled the
happened to me.
webcam because I saw when I sneezed, I'm like, my mic is up. And everybody's like, bless you. It was the webcam. So sorry about that. I figured that out.
Oh, and thank you for the ovation, Gadget Man. I'm sure that the Peanut Gallery is absolutely on their feet. Yeah. I wasn't joking at the break when I commented that as of Friday this week, my notes said interesting exposition this week. And that's all I had written down. And it was like, because at the time I'm like, oh, I'll do this really interesting thing where they'll have these interplays. And I'm like, I'll come up with some plan where they have to fight their way through each thing and get a little more. And then it's like, how am I going to do this?
Daddy.
How do I do this? What's up?
Well, you're great at improv.
I'm great at last minute writing.
Oh yeah, I thought it was
Yeah,
really
no,
good.
it's great.
Oh,
Yeah, we have fully suspended the you have to wear clothes rule. She lives in pajamas now.
Mine does too.
that's my favorite choice of clothing, pajamas.
We were really good when it all started. Everyone had to put on real clothes to sit down and go to school for the day.
Right.
Nobody puts on real clothes unless we leave the house. I don't procrastinate because I'm lazy. I procrastinate to make a challenge out of the mundane. I'm down with that. Well, and I don't know
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
if anyone from Indoor Adventures came by tonight, but I like dragged two of them into a chat room on Discord, and I'm like, I just need to talk. I need to talk, and I need to keep putting things in front of people, and they were both a ton of help with talking me through it. And for the most part, I eventually got there on my own. It was just I just needed to get it out. So I'm kind of curious what everyone's leaning at for game plans. Not that you need to tell me anything. I'm going to be spending most of my week going through all your various plans. But I'm curious as to what y'all think you're going to do next week.
We got to get more info on that wand.
I agree. We gotta find out more.
I feel like that's the key. No matter what decision we make, it's all going to come down to that thing.
Option 4. What's
I also-
option 4?
Burninate.
Burn it to the ground.
That's I wrote that down as a possibility that you guys would come up with, actually.
I mean, I keep leaning towards it because every time they open their mouths, I'm like, I'll just put that nail in your coffin, aren't you?
Yeah, same here. I'm like, oh, you guys, especially that little smile she's got, even in the past and everything. It's like, God, I want to take your teeth.
It's easy to hate the elders. But do you hate Misha?
No.
We need to get.
No.
See, here's the thing. Now that she knows, we got to talk to her. She's got to be the one to convince us not to burn the town down. Because at this point, if she's like, well, we did what we did, I'm like, all right, let's go get the wand and give it to him. Hell, we'll kill everyone in the church on the way there.
Yeah, I feel like we should have kept Misha with us. Like, there was a part of me that's like, we can't trust her. She doesn't believe us. She needs to stay with us. But then you're like,
That's
oh,
fine.
try to
She's gonna
find
do what
some
she
info.
does.
I'm like, okay, we'll try that too.
Well,
But
it led
the
to
second
same
she's
thing.
like, I don't
She
believe you. I'm like,
knows-
ooh, it was a mistake to say something.
Well, I was going to say something regardless because she was there when the three of them were executed.
Yeah.
I didn't know what her beliefs were at the time. Clearly, she left. She might have thought it was unjust. She still might have thought it was unjust, but she might not have known the reasoning. So I had to get that information.
No, that's true. It was sending her to go looking for stuff instead of keeping her with us. I mean, we had a confrontation with the elders. Nothing's coming of it. They're not trying to stop us or anything. So
Yeah.
if we
That
could
we
stay
know of.
focused on saving the people is what I think we should focus on. Not so much exposing the elders. That's like a nice to have from my perspective as
It's
the
a
paladin.
justice thing, though, right? Justice, not vengeance. You need justice to be done, correct?
Right, but we could save the people first. Like, if there was a way we could kill the elders and appease the ghosts, then I would have to be like, that would be a tough one for me. But since they're like saying, hey, there's nothing you could do to help us, it's like, well, then we kind of have to stop you.
I feel like justice would be if we find a way to undo all these curses, fix even like the darkness, let all the eldermen see it, and then put them down.
See, you were wrong, and then arrow to the face.
You know?
Sucker.
Slightly tangential, but I have to share this. I had a Facebook memory pop up today quoting my son from a year ago where he said, I wanted to do ski patrol, and then I took a snowball to the knee.
Nice.
But yeah, I think the spirits made it pretty clear there is no hey, bring us the heads of the people that wronged us and we're all good. I think they're pretty much consumed with the need for vengeance now.
Yeah, that's the feeling that I got.
Yes, I do agree that we're going to probably have to put them down somehow, but I still think justice requires that we expose the corruption. But I'm not the paladin. I
But
just want their heads on a pike.
is that going to end the zombie attacks?
No, killing the ghosts will.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But in truth, like, if Misha doesn't convince me that that they're not all complicit, then fuck them.
Well, the other predicament we're in here is that, at least from what I'm putting together here, is I don't think we can leave this place without those spirits being like, yeah, we'll let you go through the mist.
But I mean, if
Well-
we just believe them for that aspect, we're no different than the townsfolk.
Well,
We're not going to try something different. We'll just do genocide first.
Well, they did say that the wand had the power, like enough power in it, to let us pass through the mist. So we may not even need the ghosts. It may just be the wand.
Yeah, we just take the wand and dip. We'll just
Bye,
on to the
guys.
next one.
No,
Thanks
that's
for
not
your
what I'm
Blue,
saying.
see ya.
That's not what I'm saying. Well, once we're finished doing what we have to do, the wand can still probably help us get out of here afterwards.
Yeah, I actually have that written down too as an option on my list of things that PCs may select. Take the wand and
Wow.
leave.
Smash and grab.
Screw y'all. You're all bad, and we're done with you.
And this also gets into where I get so frustrated when people talk about, well, look at your character sheet and look at your alignment, and that will tell you what to do. And it's like, no, Rob Lantern Noir, the DM, really likes to put people in situations where that character alignment doesn't tell you what to do. And B, alignment is descriptive, not prescriptive. So it doesn't define you. You can do things out of alignment if it's consistent with your character. And then we just update your character sheet and go, oh, I guess I've always been a little more chaotic than neutral.
Well, I tell you, this episode was really tough for me to interact because we're embodying people, and especially at that, when we're at the table and they're discussing the lottery, it's like I don't think any of us wanted the lottery, but you kind of, we have to come to that conclusion that we're for a lottery, right, in order for the story to progress. So that's why I kind of broke character a little bit, because I just wanted to participate, because there is nothing that I could do to change things, right?
Oh, the lottery's going to happen. That was,
Yeah.
You guys had to see that unfold. And it was interesting to me that Nebula has actually put it out first. Like, I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, oh, okay, I'll let the PCs
Right, that's why you
suggest
picked
it.
her and not me, because I would have known, like, all right, lottery, 5 of 5, 6 of 6. Meanwhile, she's like, then
6 of
I
6.
I refuse, and now it will be the Council of 4, and then she walks away. That's what I saw her doing. I thought it was going to become the Council of 4 on that one.
Well, I was 50-50. Like, if I just kill her right now, she can't 505 it. I'm behind her with the bow. I mean, I can make this happen. And it's not my body. It's not her body. Yeah, she might be offended, but...
There's a reason.
Yeah,
Didn't do
that's
it.
like Looper. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Looper from like 2012.
Oh, I'm glad you guys still had a good time with us. This was, like I said, it
Oh,
was
maybe.
a fun one to write.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
a good time.
that's totally great. I'm just as engaged, with the unfolding of the story, and I also like that it was all at once, as opposed to like, a little bit of moving forward and then flashback, and then move a little bit forward and then flashback type of thing like they do in movies where you almost have competing timelines. I much rather enjoy it all at once instead of flipping context back and forth.
Agreed.
So I think that's great storytelling is all I can say.
Yeah. This I can see writing this in a way where it would have been that perpetual flashbacks to fill you in. But I also think in the context in which, I think if we were spanning this as a campaign that spanned 15 sessions, that would have worked really well. Is an hour-long flashback here that's seems out of context, and then another hour of back to fighting zombies. I actually had the thought too of writing the flashbacks backwards. So start with that last moment and work all the way back to where it had all started. And I was like, I don't think that'll work as well.
Yeah, I think
Memento.
what you ended up worked better.
Yeah, I think what you did was great.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys are doing well. And my hope for this week is to have all of you leave when you leave. I don't hope for you to leave, but I hope that when you leave, you're you still don't know what you want to do next week. That's where I wanted to get us. It's that nice spot where it's okay, we've got a week to figure out what our plan is.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, I think you should hit us with a curveball right off the bat. That way, when we come prepared, and it's we know exactly, we got to go talk to the priest and the thing, and it's the church is no longer there.
I mean, this whole thing has been a
it's
curveball, though.
Oh, that old relic? Yeah, we destroyed that years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The wand was really the serving soup ladle. We called it the wand for the hungry people.
Implying there couldn't be a ton of magic in a soup.
That's
ladle.
it, and there
come
I
on.
am beating a ghost with a ladle.
That's not how you use a ladle.
I will admit there's a slight plot twist about the nature of the wand, but it is very not critical to the overall story. But I think it's pretty, you can tell it's a relic. It's going to have some magic power to it. The question is, what do you do with it? If
Give
you
it
can
to the
get
wizard.
Serve soup, obviously.
Cool. Well, in that case, I think we're going to start to wrap up officially the stream itself. So I'm going to do the customary end of stream shout outs, which again, thank you, Nebula, for volunteering to help me get back into online D&D streaming.
Oh, you don't have to thank me, of course. It's been a pleasure.
Which has been for me, it's just been fun to get back into doing it. It's great to work with 4 talented role players, even if one had no idea he had said talent before we got to it. But if anyone who's watching tonight has not started to follow Nebula, you have to do that, because she is an amazing streamer who's always on at the best times of day, with the best streams, with the best people. And she puts up with everybody distracting her in chat, which I cannot, I cannot possibly overstate enough, because I don't know how you manage it. I can't do it.
Oh gosh, well, it's a lot of not playing and pausing the game.
It's practiced. We rolled once. We did not have a lot of rolls tonight.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of rolls, but hey, at least we rolled well for the most part. Well, we did.
Yeah,
roll.
we used the one reroll. That's what I was trying to tell him. We did have to use a reroll. So.
Yep.
And it was worth it.
You have a lot in the bank right now, which I'm going to clear out so that when I do my regular streaming, I don't stumble onto. But you've got a bunch of add-ons and another reroll, so you'll have some good stuff helping you out next time, because they're going to be bloodshed next week.
Oh man,
that's all there is to that.
Damn right,
at least one old lady.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make a necklace out of her teeth.
She was just very matter of fact about it. She's owning it.
Right, like a sociopath who needs to be put down.
And then Jeremy also says, as Spinny Helm has been streaming. I popped in. He was playing a really mean game of 7 Days to Die, and you almost had me ready to reinstall it. So if you want to give him a check out,
fun.
Oh, nice.
And if you want to hear more of Azteki, you just watch Nebula. Usually around 5-ish, you can start to hear the wild Azteki kibitzing, and it's always funny when he's around. And Adam is a dear friend who I probably will eventually start running D&D streams now that he sees how awesome and fun it is. I can teach you most of this. from a tech level. So on that behalf, thank you guys for coming by, and thank you for hanging out with us for the night. It was a lot of fun. And until the next time we all meet up, everybody please stay safe.
Yes.
Definitely stay safe.